In a world that constantly celebrates visibility, there's a quiet power in growing where no one is watching. Private growth precedes public glory, not as a cliché, but as a divine principle that governs lasting impact. Before the spotlight, there is shaping. Before the stage, there is silence. And before recognition, there is refinement. What many people call overnight success is often years of invisible investment. It's the time you spent showing up when it didn't make sense. It's the countless unseen hours when you stayed faithful to a vision only you could see. You don't become great when people applaud. You become great when you choose growth without it. The applause only confirms what was already true. Private growth is where character is forged. It's where you're trained to handle weight without crumbling. It's where you learn to carry what you once could only dream of, because the truth is, public glory will always expose the private person. If you skip the process of personal development, the very spotlight you prayed for will reveal the areas you neglected to heal. Growth in private teaches you to value the unseen. It realigns your motives when nobody is watching. Who are you doing it for? When the lights are off, will you still be excellent? That's the kind of growth that's sacred. It's between you and God, and it cannot be faked. There's something holy about becoming in the dark. When you're not performing, you're becoming, and that is a more powerful thing than performance could ever be. This is where trust is built. You trust the process even when it doesn't look like progress. You learn to find purpose in obscurity. You learn patience, and you begin to realize that some of your greatest breakthroughs won't be preceded by a crowd, but by a quiet commitment to yourself. This is the season that teaches you discipline, because when no one is clapping, it takes internal strength to keep going. But if you master that moment, you'll carry a strength into the spotlight that fame can't give and critics can't take away. There's also humility in the hidden place. You get to grow without the pressure to be perfect. You can fail privately, recover quietly, and rise with wisdom. It's a gift, because what you learn in the shadows becomes the strength that holds you up in the light. Many people chase visibility prematurely, unaware that exposure without preparation is dangerous. Growth in private ensures that when your time comes, you won't just show up, you'll stay. Not just because of what you can do, but because of who you've become. It's not about being hidden forever. It's about being whole when you're revealed. Don't despise the season of becoming. Don't rush to be seen. Some of your deepest roots will grow during the seasons when you feel buried, but you're not buried. You're planted, and if you stay faithful in the soil, you'll bloom at the appointed time. When the world finally sees you, they won't be meeting someone who just arrived. They'll be meeting someone who's been becoming all along, someone who knows who they are even when the lights go out, someone who is built, not just noticed, someone who grew in private so they could carry glory in public. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to become obsessed with platforms, those spaces where visibility, recognition, and validation happen. Social media, events, awards, and public praise often seem like the ultimate goals, but there is a deeper truth that many overlook: process over platform. The process is the journey of growth, learning, and transformation. The platform is simply where you share the results of that process. When you focus more on the platform than the process, you risk building castles on sand, impressive at first glance, but vulnerable and unstable beneath the surface. The platform is fleeting. It can be taken away at any moment by changing trends, fickle audiences, or unforeseen circumstances. But the process, the work you do behind the scenes, builds strength that lasts. It's where skills are sharpened, character is tested, and resilience is forged. When you pour your energy into the process, you are creating a foundation that no external circumstance can shake. The platform might bring applause, but the process brings mastery. Many people want the rewards without the work. They want the stage without the rehearsal, the spotlight without the sacrifice, but the truth is that the platform should never be the starting point. It should be the result, the natural outflow of a process completed with diligence and passion. The process is where you face failure and learn from it. It's where you put in the hours no one sees. It's where you refine your craft, grow your mindset, and develop your discipline. This is the place where greatness is born. When you focus on process over platform, your attention shifts from external approval to internal growth. Instead of worrying about how many likes, shares, or followers you have, you focus on becoming better today than you were yesterday. You care less about instant fame and more about lasting impact. You invest in learning, experimenting, and improving even when it feels slow or invisible. This mindset protects you from burnout and discouragement because your motivation comes from within, not from the applause of others. The process also teaches patience. It reminds you that success doesn't happen overnight, even if the world wants you to believe otherwise. The platform can create illusions of quick fame, but true achievement requires time and consistent effort. When you honor the process, you embrace the reality that progress is gradual and sometimes unseen. This patience builds character. It prepares you to handle success with humility and failure with grace. Focusing on the process over the platform also strengthens your authenticity. When you're not chasing the spotlight, you're free to experiment, make mistakes, and find what truly resonates with you. You're less likely to conform to what's popular or expected, and more likely to discover your unique voice and purpose. Authenticity is magnetic. It draws people who appreciate the real you, not just the persona crafted for the platform. There's also a greater sense of fulfillment when your energy goes into the process. Instead of living for moments of validation, you find joy in the journey itself. Each step forward, each challenge overcome, becomes a victory in its own right. The platform becomes a bonus, not the goal. This shift in focus changes your entire relationship with success. It's no longer about proving something to the world. It's about honoring your own growth. When the platform eventually comes, it becomes a tool, not a crutch. You won't rely on it for your identity or worth. Instead, you use it to share the fruit of your labor, inspire others, and create opportunities. The platform then amplifies the process you've already committed to. It's the natural extension of who you are becoming, not a superficial display. Ultimately, process over platform is a call to stay grounded. It's a reminder that your journey matters more than your exposure. It challenges you to invest in your craft, nurture your character, and embrace the work that will carry you through every season. When you focus on the process first, the platform will follow, and when it does, you'll be ready to handle it with strength, grace, and purpose. In a culture that often rewards noise and flash, consistency is the quiet force that ultimately makes the loudest impact. People love announcements, the grand reveals, the flashy posts, the declarations of intention. But what truly moves mountains isn't the noise we make about what we're going to do. It's the steady, deliberate actions we take day after day, even when no one is watching. Consistency is louder than announcements because it proves commitment, builds trust, and shapes character in ways that words never can. Anyone can make a promise or share a bold vision, but few have the courage to show up and do the work continuously, especially when results are slow or invisible. Announcements often come easy, they are exciting and make us feel hopeful, but if those announcements are not backed by persistent effort, they fade into empty noise. The world quickly forgets words without action, but consistent effort writes a story no one can ignore. Consistency demands discipline. It requires showing up even when motivation dips, when distractions pull, or when immediate results seem distant. It means honoring your goals and values not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard. The power of consistency lies in its repetition. Small actions compounded over time create monumental change. It's like drops of water carving through rock, persistent and patient. The sound of those drops may be soft, but the outcome is undeniable. Moreover, consistency builds credibility. When people see you repeatedly deliver, day in and day out, they begin to trust you. Trust is the foundation of influence, and influence cannot be rushed or faked. Announcements may catch attention for a moment, but only consistent action keeps that attention and transforms it into respect. Over time, your reliability becomes your reputation. Consistency also shapes character. It cultivates resilience, patience, and humility. It teaches you to find joy in the process, not just the outcome. When you commit to consistent effort, you're less dependent on external validation because your identity becomes tied to the work itself. You learn to value progress over perfection and to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. Another powerful aspect of consistency is that it creates momentum. One small step leads to another, and soon the habit of showing up builds its own energy. This momentum becomes a force that propels you forward, even when your initial enthusiasm wanes. Announcements might generate temporary buzz, but momentum born of consistency sustains long-term growth and success. Consistency is especially vital in moments of obscurity, when no one is watching, when there's no applause or feedback. It's easy to lose heart. Yet, those who persist quietly build the foundation that eventually supports their breakthrough. The world only notices the peak, but the peak rests on countless unseen efforts. The quiet hours spent honing skills, learning lessons, and refining vision are what make public success authentic and enduring. In contrast, announcements without consistency often lead to disappointment both for the person making them and for those watching. When bold claims are not followed by action, credibility erodes and opportunities fade. People become skeptical not just of the individual, but of any future promises. The lesson here is clear. Your actions must back your words consistently for your message to have power. Ultimately, consistency is a form of integrity. It means aligning your actions with your promises regardless of external circumstances. It is a declaration not shouted from the rooftops, but demonstrated through every small, faithful step. Consistency turns potential into progress and dreams into reality. It's the loudest language of commitment, louder than any announcement you could make. When you embrace consistency, you create a legacy that lasts beyond the moment. You become someone who doesn't just talk about change, you become the change. And when the world finally takes notice, it's not because of a single announcement, but because of the steady, persistent presence you have cultivated over time. There is a season in life that often feels like wandering in the wilderness, uncertain, uncomfortable, and lonely. It's a place where progress seems slow or invisible, and the noise of the world feels distant or indifferent. Many look at this wilderness as a waste of time, a setback, or even a punishment, but the wilderness is not a waste. It is a sacred space for growth, healing, and preparation. What appears to be a desert is often the soil where your deepest roots are planted. The wilderness is a metaphor for those seasons when you feel isolated from your goals, unseen by others, and disconnected from the success you desire. In these moments, it's tempting to question your worth, your path, and your purpose, but it is precisely in the wilderness that your character is refined. It strips away distractions and forces you to confront yourself honestly. This confrontation can be painful, but it is necessary. Without this season, growth is shallow and breakthroughs lack the strength to sustain them. In the wilderness, you learn patience. It teaches you that growth is not always immediate or glamorous. Sometimes the most important progress happens beneath the surface, where no one can see. Just like seeds spend time underground before sprouting, your efforts in the wilderness are quietly taking root. This patience nurtures resilience, the kind that helps you withstand future storms without breaking. You develop endurance, a capacity to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. The wilderness also offers clarity. When the noise of constant activity and external approval fades, you begin to hear your own voice more clearly. You discover what truly matters to you, beyond the expectations of others or the lure of quick success. This clarity strengthens your vision and deepens your purpose. It allows you to realign with your values and make decisions based on what is authentic, rather than what is popular or convenient. Another gift of the wilderness is humility. When you are stripped of accolades and distractions, you are reminded of your humanity. You learn to rely on faith in yourself, in your purpose, or in something greater than yourself. This humility grounds you, preventing arrogance and helping you stay connected to your true source of strength. It prepares you to lead with empathy and wisdom when your season of recognition finally comes. The wilderness is a time of preparation. It equips you with lessons that no classroom or quick success can teach. You develop skills through trial and error, deepen your emotional intelligence through solitude, and build spiritual strength through reflection. This preparation is essential because when you emerge from the wilderness, you won't just be someone who succeeded, you'll be someone who has been tested and transformed. The wilderness tempers your passion with patience and your dreams with discipline. Many people are tempted to escape the wilderness prematurely, seeking shortcuts, validation, or external affirmation before they are ready. But rushing out too soon often leads to instability. Without the depth gained in the wilderness, success can be fleeting. The wilderness ensures your foundation is solid so that when the world finally notices you, you can stand firm and thrive. It's important to remember that the wilderness is not a sign of failure. It is part of the journey. Even those who seem to have it all together have passed through their own wilderness seasons. These moments are universal. They remind us that growth is a process, often messy and uncomfortable, but always purposeful. So when you find yourself in the wilderness, don't despair. Instead, embrace the lessons it offers. Use this time to build resilience, gain clarity, cultivate humility, and prepare for what's next. Trust that this season is shaping you into the person you need to become for the success and impact that lie ahead. The wilderness is not a waste. It is a sacred passage from who you were to who you are becoming. Your growth is the message. In a world filled with loud voices clamoring for attention, the most powerful way to communicate who you are and what you stand for is through the transformation you embody. Words can inspire, ideas can motivate, but nothing speaks louder or more authentically than the visible evidence of your growth. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, your life itself becomes a message that resonates deeply with those around you, often without you having to say a word. Growth is not just about acquiring skills or achievements. It's about evolving in character, mindset, and perspective. It reflects a journey of perseverance, self-awareness, and intentionality. People watch closely, not just for what you say, but for how you live. Your attitude, your resilience in the face of challenges, your ability to rise after failures, all these aspects form a living narrative that others can't help but notice. When your growth is genuine, it becomes a beacon, silently encouraging others to pursue their own transformation. The beauty of growth as a message is that it transcends language and cultural barriers. It communicates universally because it's rooted in authenticity. When you improve your mindset, your emotional intelligence, or your skills, the change is often visible in how you interact with others, how you handle pressure, and how you contribute to your community. This silent communication carries far more weight than any speech or social media post. It's the message that says, "I am committed to becoming better every day." Without you ever having to declare it outright, growth also challenges the status quo. When people see your progress, especially if you've overcome significant obstacles, it disrupts their assumptions about what's possible. Your journey becomes proof that change is attainable, that limitations can be broken, and that resilience pays off. This kind of message empowers not only you, but also those who witness your transformation. It shifts mindsets and ignites hope, sparking a ripple effect that extends far beyond your immediate circle. Your growth can also redefine your relationships. As you evolve, you attract people who align with your values and vision, and you inspire those who may have once doubted you. You become a living example of what it means to pursue purpose with integrity and dedication. The message your growth sends is one of hope, perseverance, and authenticity, qualities that resonate deeply in every area of life. When people see that you're growing, they see someone who is reliable, trustworthy, and worthy of investment. Another powerful aspect of growth as a message is that it fosters humility. Real growth involves acknowledging your flaws, learning from failures, and embracing vulnerability. When you allow others to see your humanity, your struggles as well as your victories, you communicate that growth is not about perfection but progress. This vulnerability builds connection and breaks down walls. It reminds everyone that growth is a process we all share, making your message even more relatable and inspiring. Importantly, when your growth becomes the message, you no longer need to seek validation through constant explanation or justification. Your life demonstrates your values and intentions so clearly that words become secondary. This brings freedom from the pressure to prove yourself because your transformation is undeniable. It allows you to focus your energy on continuing the journey rather than defending your path. When the world finally takes notice of you, it will be because of the consistency and authenticity of your growth. People will recognize the effort you've put in, the challenges you've overcome, and the wisdom you've gained. Your growth becomes a legacy, something that continues to inspire long after any moment of fame or recognition has passed. It's a message that lasts, influencing generations and creating a lasting impact. Ultimately, your growth is the message because it is a living testimony of who you are becoming. It speaks to your dedication, your resilience, and your purpose without the need for grand declarations. It invites others to witness, learn, and be inspired by your journey, so invest in your growth not just for your own sake, but as a powerful statement to the world. Because when you grow, you communicate in the most authentic and compelling way possible through the life you live. There is a profound truth in the idea that when it's time, you won't have to force it. Life has a way of aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities at the perfect moment, and trying to rush or force things before that moment only leads to frustration, burnout, and missed potential. Understanding this principle is a key part of mastering patience, trusting the process, and recognizing the power of timing in your journey. Forcing something often stems from impatience or fear, the fear that you might miss your chance, or that things won't ever work out if you don't push hard enough. But forcing growth, success, or recognition can actually work against you. When you push before you're ready, you risk exposing gaps in your preparation or stepping into situations that aren't meant for you yet. Timing is about readiness. Not just in your skills or resources, but in your mindset, character, and even your spirit. When it's time, the path becomes clear and the pieces start to fall into place almost effortlessly. Doors open that were previously closed, connections happen naturally, and the energy around your goals feels aligned instead of forced. This doesn't mean you stop working or preparing. In fact, the opposite is true. Preparation is the invisible work you do in the waiting season. You sharpen your skills, deepen your understanding, and build your resilience. You trust that your efforts are not wasted just because the results aren't immediate. Recognizing the right time requires patience and wisdom. It's a call to listen more closely to your intuition, to the feedback from your environment, and to the signs that indicate readiness. Sometimes the world will nudge you forward, making opportunities impossible to ignore. Other times it requires quiet restraint to hold back and keep refining yourself in private. Both are part of the rhythm of growth, and learning to discern when to act and when to wait is an essential skill. Forcing things before their time can also drain your energy and enthusiasm. It's exhausting to push against resistance that's there for a reason. Often, that resistance is protection, keeping you from burnout, failure, or the wrong path. When you try to skip steps or rush your season, you might find yourself overwhelmed or discouraged. But when you wait for the right time, you preserve your energy for the moments that truly matter, showing up with full strength when it counts most. Trusting that when it's time, you won't have to force it also encourages a mindset of faith and surrender. It requires believing that there is a bigger plan at work, even when the timeline isn't clear. This faith doesn't mean passivity. It means actively engaging in your growth while releasing the need to control the outcome. It's about balancing effort with trust, ambition with patience, and determination with peace. This principle applies not only to external success, but to personal transformation as well. Sometimes you may feel ready to move to the next phase in life, but the internal shifts aren't quite complete. When it's time, you'll feel a natural readiness from within, a sense of alignment between your inner world and your external opportunities. Forcing change before that alignment can lead to frustration or setbacks, but when the time is right, transformation flows more smoothly. The stories of those who have succeeded against great odds often share this common thread. They prepared relentlessly, stayed consistent, and waited patiently for the right time to step forward. They didn't force their breakthroughs, they allowed their growth and circumstances to converge in perfect timing. This is a powerful lesson for anyone who feels anxious about their progress or pressured by deadlines. When you internalize this truth, you gain freedom. Freedom from anxiety about rushing, from the need to prove yourself prematurely, and from comparing your journey to others. You begin to see your path as uniquely timed, unfolding exactly as it should. This perspective empowers you to focus on your work, your growth, and your purpose, knowing that the right moment will reveal itself. In the end, you won't have to force success, recognition, or growth, because when the time is right, everything aligns to support you. You'll find yourself stepping into opportunities with confidence, ease, and authenticity. You'll experience momentum that feels natural and unstoppable. And the world will notice, not because you pushed harder, but because you showed up fully prepared, fully ready, and fully yourself exactly when it mattered most. Throughout this journey, the key truths remain clear. Growth begins in the quiet, unseen moments. Focusing on the process builds a foundation stronger than any platform. Consistency speaks louder than any announcement. The wilderness seasons shape us rather than waste us. Our personal transformation is the most powerful message we can share, and when the time is right, success comes without force. Embracing these principles frees us from the pressure to rush or prove ourselves, and invites us to trust in our unique path. When we commit to becoming who we are meant to be patiently and faithfully, the world inevitably takes notice not just of what we achieve, but of the strength, character, and authenticity that define us. This is the true power of growth.